Today's video is about how to find the volume of a cylinder. So in the last video we talked about volume of a prism, and a prism is a shape that has polygon bases. A cylinder is a three-dimensional shape that has a circular base. So our base shape for a cylinder is a circle. So prism starts with a P, polygon starts with a P. Polygon bases for prisms. Cylinder starts with a C, and circle starts with a C, so circle bases for cylinders. So since this cylinder has two bases, a top and a bottom, that means we can use the same formula that we did for prism. So our formula for prism, remember, is volume equals area of base times the height. Now, the area of the base changes, just like it did with prism. Remember, depending on the base shape, the area formula changes. Well, in a cylinder, the base shape is a circle. So when we're focusing on the volume and the area of the base times height, my area formula is going to be pi r squared, because that's how you calculate the area of a circle. So it's very important to just understand the base shape. And in a cylinder, it's pretty easy to tell what the base shape is. You've got one here, that is obviously a circle, and then you have a circle here as well. So when we're calculating area of the base, we're using pi r squared. So let's kind of focus on our first problem. Volume of the cylinder equals pi. The radius goes from the center to a point on the circle, and in this case, my radius is 5 squared. And my height throughout this problem is the distance between the bases. So I've got a circle here and a circle here. That height is 9. Remember, height is not how tall this shape is, it's how far away base 1 is from base 2. So if this was on its side, which it kind of is tilted, see here. If it's sitting upright, my height is vertical. If it's on its side, my height is horizontal. And if it's tilted like this, the height is diagonal. So remember, height is not how tall the shape is. Oh my goodness, I just dropped my highlighter. Height is, oh man. Okay, I got it. Height is how far away base 1 is from base 2. So here it is. So let's go ahead and calculate this. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to do exact area first, or exact volume. So exact volume. Now exact volume is going to have pi in an answer, because pi is a decimal and it goes on forever. So if you actually press the pi button for your volume, you're going to be rounding your answer. So let's say we want exact volume. What we're going to do is type this in, but we're going to cover up pi. So 5 squared times 9, 225. I'm basically just simplifying this portion of my formula. Okay, so 225. And then pi just kind of is along for the ride. Cubic inches. Okay, that's exact volume. Now let's say that we want volume rounded to the nearest, rounded to the nearest cubic inch. Rounding something to the nearest cubic inch means I'm actually going to press pi. So the way I would do this is I would do second, arrow up. So the pi button is located right here. It's above this little arrow sign. So you press second, arrow, and we get pi. Then we're going to go ahead and do times 5 squared times 9. And if I'm rounding to the nearest cubic inch, that would be whole number. So 8 is 5 or higher, so that rounds this up to 707 inches cubed, which is a totally big difference than 225. So remember, when you're doing exact volume, pi needs to be in your answer. If you're rounding to the nearest whole number, you press the pi button. This number should be about 3 times larger, because pi is 3.14 blah, blah, blah. So this should be about 3 times larger than this number. Okay, let's try another. So again, this is a cylinder. So I'm going to go ahead and put volume equals capital B times H, area of the base times height. In a cylinder, remember, my base shape is a circle. So for my area of the base, I should be using pi r squared to calculate that full area. So volume equals pi r squared times h. I'm going to go ahead and focus in on my problem now. Pi. I should be focusing on this circle down here. That is one base. And then this is my second base. My base shape is a circle, so my radius goes from the center to a point on the circle, so this is 8 squared. My height is how far away base 1 is from base 2. So in this case, my height is actually vertical because my actual cylinder is sitting on the base. So it looks like this. So my height is vertical. Remember, if it's on its side, height is horizontal. If it's tilted like this, height is diagonal. And if it's sitting on the base, it is actually vertical. And so just remember, height is not how tall the shape is. It's how far away the bases are from each other. In this case, the height is 14. So again, throughout my problem, I've got my height. My area of the base does change depending on what the formula is. So this is a circle, so we're using pi r squared. So let's go ahead and do exact volume first. So to do exact volume, referencing up above, this is where we don't put pi in our calculator. So when we're typing this in, I'm going to cover up pi and just do 8 squared times 14 for 896. So I'm going to simplify this and get 896. Pi is just along for the ride. It's centimeters and it's cubic because it's third. Now we're going to round to nearest cubic centimeter. Okay. So to do that, we're going to type it in our calculator. I'm going to press second arrow to get to pi times 8 squared. Oh my goodness. Times 8 squared times the height. And in this case, my height is 14. We're going to round to the nearest whole number because it says nearest cubic centimeter. So looking at this 8 is larger than, it's 5 or higher. So this 8 bumps this up to a 5 for a rounded volume of 2,815. So 2,815 centimeters cubed. Now notice here, this should be, this one, the rounded answer should be about 3 times bigger of this number because I'm multiplying by pi. So my answer should be bigger. Once I press the pi button, remember, pi is gone forever. So once I press that button, I'm going to not have pi in my final answer because I've already used it. Things to remember about cylinders. 2 bases. I still have 2 bases. So that means that my volume formula is still area of the base times height. However, when I'm doing area of the base, I should be using pi r squared, not length times width, because the base shape is a circle.